They don't want to meet. Lead Cujo up to Belle and then kind of like goose Belle because she'll get weird with him. There we go. There we go. Hey. Yeah, like that. Exactly. Hello everybody, this is Shelby from The Good Dog.
Right now?
Yeah.
Don't be pressured by someone trying to meet your dog.
Say it with more feeling. Stare at him and look at me and say, he's not friendly.
So your dog's aggressive?
He's not friendly.
She goes to say blah blah blah. She just wants to say hi. She won't bite.
Ooh, bright.
Da-da-da.
How are you?
Y'all.
Hi.
Hey.
Well, hello to you.
Like this?
Ooh, what's that?
Just a fancy necklace that I've had for a long time that I haven't never worn on Q&A, I don't think.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that something you got from like Native Indians or
I
anything?
think my mom got it for me and maybe she got it from a store that got it from...
Native Indians, but it was probably in Los Angeles she bought it. Okay. So how have you been?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Oh. Nails seem to be kind of in a consistent
Always
mode.
on point.
Yep. But it seems like you haven't really changed. Seems like you're...
Yeah. I changed it. I turquoised it up, but just on my own. I gotta go get them done.
Okay, you're kind of like, just kind of like...
Finagled the system.
Yeah. All right, guys. So let's talk about a couple things going on besides Laura's nails. Biggest news, we've got a freaking new facility. And this has been a long time coming. It's been something we've worked on so hard. And maybe that sounds weird that we've worked on because it feels like we haven't, but we have. We've been focused on it. We've been focused on it for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's been really challenging to find a spot that feels good. We could find places like in the middle of nowhere that were really heavily industrial and didn't feel good. And it's just not our vibe. Our vibe is more home-centric. It's more comfy and vibey and cozy, and that's really what we were looking for. So we had spots and we looked at stuff and nothing ever felt right, and we just kind of held our course, and then boom, a texty poo comes through from one of our awesome rescue peeps, and she gave us first shot at a house that is perfect. Over half an acre of land, which means
fanciness.
Which means we'll be able to board dogs for you guys that need boarding. Of course, Sean Savitsky, Sean too, is still available to do boarding, but we'll be able to, because now we can actually pick up the slack and do a bunch of boarding for you guys when he's busy. We'll have plenty of room for your boarding dogs, which means really good news as far as if you've got a dog that's doesn't do well in boarding, tends to get kind of loosey-goosey, or you can't find a place where you feel safe that and trust that they're going to do good work. You know you can trust us. We're going to keep your dog on the straight and narrow. So that's really exciting stuff. We haven't been able to really do that here. Tony's done a bit, but we haven't been able to do anything. So that's really exciting. Giant lawns, giant fenced-in areas to do big recalls, socialization, multiple. It's pretty fab. We didn't expect it to be as fab as it was. We were like, it's going to be a big yard and it'll be kind of cool. We went and we were like, this is perfect.
And we hired 2 new trainers, 2 new full-time employees.
Please tell them.
So we've got Henri, which sometimes you guys, well, actually the 2 girls you guys saw in last week's episode. So Shelby
the stars
and Henri,
of the show.
Yep, they were the stars of kind of the B-roll kind of walking thing out there. And Shelby's actually coming from New Orleans here to LA to intern with us for another month, and she's working full-time as a full-time intern, kind of assistant. And then Henri, who you guys have seen here, she's been part-time at the Good Dog for a long time. She's going to be full-time, and she's going to be our full-time. She's going to live at the facility.
Kind of kennel manager and trainer and jack of all awesome trades.
And of course Brittany's with us, and we're just going to have this giant
compound.
Sister wives compound.
Big love, as you wanted to call it. I know you were like, do I call it that?
Big love.
Right? So it's going to be a fabulous place. And the cool thing is there's so much room now that we can be doing multiple training in multiple spots and multiple, like, everything's fenced off in different ways. It's just super duper cool.
Awesome. Yeah.
So, and we're so proud to have Henri and Shelby on there. Like, our whole gig as a business entity is really like collecting awesome people.
Yeah.
And we've been so blessed to collect Tony, Britt, Henri, Shelby, yourself. It's really like, it's where all the magic's at as far as like building a business that's sustainable and where clients feel good and it ripples out into awesome stuff. So I know I'm getting a little bit long in the tooth, LaDawn, but this is like such an important thing that I just wanted to share that.
Yeah.
So beyond that, I had about 19 or 20 shots today in my mouth. If I'm talking weird, or if I'm not clear as I usually am, or if I sound like a jackass, it's because I'm doped out. I literally came from the dentist an hour and a half ago, and I couldn't talk an hour and a half ago, and it's starting to come back to me. My tongue is starting to work a little bit. So just be aware of that, and a little bit of excuses for me. Beyond that, big news, Nola Workshop. Tell the peeps about the Nola Workshop.
Oh yeah, so I think you told them last week though.
Yeah, it's going to be a constant hammering until they're all there.
We're almost half full, I think, or we're over half full. We have an e-collar workshop. It's May 7th and 8th. It's in New Orleans, Louisiana, and it's $500 for a working spot, and it's $300 for an audit. We have, I think, 4 working spots available and 2 audit spots available.
And we're capping it at 10, correct?
10 and 15, 10 and 5.
10 working spots, 5 audits.
Yep.
So guys, that means super duper intimate. That means whatever you show up with your dog, we're going to be able to really be hands-on with you, and it's not going to be like a 40 or 50 person attendance thing where you just kind of get a real cursory thing. We're going to be able to really dig in with you deep and help you work through your stuff. We can't believe how well it's selling. We've been wanting to put this together for so long, and it's been a dream. It really has been a dream, to be perfectly clear. And to do it over there, we've got a special spot in Crescent Park that I think is going to be fantastic for it.
Yep.
And maybe we'll bring a little picnic or something, like po' boys or who knows what.
Wow.
Could be great. Maybe some pralines for you.
Wow. All right.
So anyways, with that, I'd like to get into the show.
Sure.
Okay. Hey everybody, it's Sean from The Good Dog, and this, to my right, with the slightly modified turquoise, done on the down low, still encrusted, needing some fills, but looking good still, well, a little bit of fills, is the lovely, awesome, talented Laura Morgan. And all this stuff that you can or can't see or don't give a crap about is actually The Good Dog's Q&A Saturday, episode number 76. And you can't do this. Oh, you did 7. Oh, I didn't see the thumb. Sorry.
Of course.
I didn't see the thumb. I thought you were.
Started like this.
And then you.
I gotta give
and then you threw the thumb up, right?
I thought I was doing this.
Right. You know better than that. Anyways, guys, episode 76, which means we boogieing on this.
Yeah.
We've got like some episodes in the tank. If we were to both be struck by lightning tomorrow, that means that our legacy kind of lives on, and like people would be like, yeah, I remember those folks, and who needs them? We've got all their videos and all that stuff, and that's really the goal. Anyways, First question, let's jump.
Okay, question number 1 comes from Stephanie.
Yes.
Stephanie says, my dog is impatient by nature, not mugging for treats, just for freedom to play. When he's in place for longer than a minute, he often whines, especially if there are distractions such as other dogs or fun new smells.
Yes.
Should I ignore this and release him after a certain length of calm behavior, or should I decrease the time and release him before he starts whining and increase time more slowly to avoid the whining entirely? Did I add too much distraction too soon? Should I tire him out before we work on it? I'm at a loss. Stephanie. Okay, I'm setting the timer.
For you?
Yes. What are we doing, 7 minutes?
I don't know, whatever you feel you need.
All right. Stephanie, I guess this is my question because he's acting like this and I've got my name.
Acting like this? I've already told you that's yours.
So,
don't make me the fall guy.
Stephanie, so short answer is your dog stays in place as long as you want your dog to stay in place. So just because your dog's whining on place, just because your dog's asking for freedom or wants to go play, most likely it's been kind of trained by you by it asking for it, by a little bit of whining coming, and you actually rewarding it with letting it go out or whatever. And you sound like you've got your stuff together, so I'm sure it hasn't been that black and white, but there's been some form of permissiveness where the dog's like, let me try this again, let me whine and see where I get. Because that's annoying. I can totally understand that.
And we get a ton. If I could be so bold, you might have to boot me out. A shit ton of dogs that show up here doing that over and over and over again because it's worked every single time.
Yeah. So the main thing I want to say here is that the training that we do, like place command, is not for just the obedience. Like, yeah, it's great that your dog can stay in place when you want him to and hang out, but the reality is we're using that obedience to get to the state of mind that we want, which is a calm, relaxed, respectful, tuned in dog.
Yep.
Just because he's laying on that spot, even if you said just a minute goes by and he's looking at you and whining and kind of like in this goosed up place, that's not the state of mind we're looking for. That's not just a dog going through the motions. We don't want your dog going through the motions.
Perfectly said.
So by using a correction on the e-collar or whatever you're using, does she say she's using e-collar?
I don't think she mentioned any tools.
Okay, so if you're doing prong collar, then you need to be correcting at a good level so the dog realizes, oh, not only does that whining not work and I don't get to go outside, but I also get a correction. Okay, I'm just going to skip the whining altogether, right? And if it's e-collar, of course, the same thing. This is all a given that you've actually taught the behavior really clearly.
Place
that the dog
and all
knows, place command, using pressure, leash pressure or e-collar pressure to start, and you've taught it fairly over some time. So we're kind of just assuming that.
And what happens if she's not using prong and leash or e-collar?
Oh, yeah, you're gonna have a really tough time with that. I don't know what you'd be using otherwise to be trying to reinforce this. You didn't mention anything about
corrective tools or training tools.
But you also didn't mention anything about treats or anything like that. So my hope is that you're using some sort of balanced method so you can be giving both sides of the equation. And the truth is, just stick with it. That place command, if you want a 3-hour place command before your dog goes out to play, you correct that whining and you let the dog hang and you let him fall asleep, and whenever you want to let your dog out, you let your dog out. It's your world, your dog's living in it, and guess what? We're not just saying that because we're being hard asses, we're saying it because we know it's the best thing for the dog.
Absolutely.
The very best thing.
Yep.
A dog that's sitting in place, anxious, and gets to push boundaries and oh, I want to go outside and sometimes I get let outside. That's not a dog that's being led through the world.
It's an uncomfortable dog.
Yeah, it's really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So take the option away, make it non-negotiable, and watch your dog relax and become a whole different dog in a ton of context.
We spend so much time here. How much are we looking on that timer?
3:26.
Cool.
Yeah.
We spend so much time here with dogs, whether it's in the crate or if it's in a downstay or if it's in the place command, with dogs saying, all that is saying, I want to do something else.
Yeah.
I want to do something else.
Yep.
I'm sorry, but in this world that we've created, dogs need to be able to fit into it, and they need to be able to fit into it sometimes when it's not the best for them or not the most appropriate, or they haven't done a 10-mile, run, jog, walk, whatever. It's go lay in place and zip it up and be quiet.
Right.
And it's super imperative that we condition our dogs to learn how to do that. And the whole thing is, dogs can be conditioned to do that.
Yep.
Now, that doesn't mean don't walk them and don't do the exercise, do all that stuff, but do not think for a moment that stuff is going to create a dog that goes to place and just chills out, because what you're fighting against is the impulse control that I want to go freaking do something else. And by correcting and creating a consequence for that, where your dog starts to prioritize silence and staying in one spot, you will see tremendously different behavior in your dog in that one context, but also rippling out into other contexts as well. So I think that's a pretty good answer for that.
Cool.
But just to wrap up, you guys, you need tools. If you're trying to do this with spatial pressure or just walking towards the dog, and you're going to lose every time because your dog's not going to care about any of those consequences.
My guess is with the vernacular you were using, I'm guessing. Thank you. I'm guessing that you're using some sort of tool, and you're kind of just assuming that we know that you're using it, because it seems like kind of you're in our ballpark. But if you're not, get there. The other thing I was going to say is most likely this isn't the only place you're seeing this behavior.
What?
So check on the other things that maybe the same sort of thing are happening, and make sure you check those too, because all of them feed into everything. If you're just to make place like, oh, non-negotiable, but everything else the dog can push boundaries on, you're still going to have to struggle in all those areas. So make sure you're checking all those places.
A dog that pulls on the walk will whine in place. A dog
Yes.
that darts out of the crate will whine in place. A
Yes.
dog that bolts through thresholds will whine in place. So many folks don't get that, and that is how we curb that crap. So anyways,
Cool.
nice work. We made it
Nice.
through with a minute to spare,
minute to spare.
which means we get to have like an advertisement in there
No.
for like pralines or something like
Thanks,
that.
Stephanie. All right.
Okay, you ready?
Question number 2
I'm ready
comes
for
from
this one.
Brooke. Brooke says, about 4 months ago, you and Laura answered a question of mine about my pit mix Luna.
Mm-hmm.
She had a lot of problems with barking because we have a fenced-in backyard, and when she would hear something, she would go off. Well, I got her an e-collar, and she responded quickly and positively to it, as I thought she would, because she responded very quickly when I introduced a prong collar when she was young. Now she's walking off-leash with us on our walks and has done amazing.
Yep.
My only issue is that we have a bit of a possum issue in the neighborhood.
Is it a possum or is it possum?
I just like possum because then we can say
We're down
the
home.
pittie has a passion for possum.
I know, it sounds great. Yeah.
Right. But the other night, okay, so she's gotten 6 so far that have come into the backyard. OMG.
Does she eat? I wonder if she eats them or she.
No, I know I can't do much about controlling the possums, but the other night on our walk, she was off leash and was walking great. Then she bolted out of nowhere and got another one. I was using the e-collar trying to recall to no avail. It's like she had tunnel vision. It didn't matter how high I was going on the e-collar. To be fair, I'm trying to get her to leave it alone and failing. I ran over with my boyfriend to try to get her, so I wasn't really sitting and taking my time to find out when she would finally come back.
Right.
We eventually got her back on leash. She was fine walking away, no pulling or anything. We've had no problem walking past dogs, cats, kids, not using the collar, just like leave it.
Nice.
I'm afraid that one of these days on this walk, she will actually get an opossum and get messed up by their serrated teeth. Is there a way to get this high possum prey drive, or at least be able to get through to her when she's in that tunnel vision?
Yeah.
Ooh, Brooke.
Brooke, all right, lady.
Yeah.
I've got some answers for you. I've actually got two choices, right? So, I just like that I said Pittie has a possum passion. I just think it's a great title.
Pittie has a
So-
passion for possum.
I did it differently. So anyways, I wrote a few notes for you because it's super important. So this is the first suggestion. I take your dog to a possum or a possum rich environment, right? I'd have your e-collar turned up all the way. Now that might blow your mind, that might scare the hell out of you, that might be like, are you crazy? And I would go out someplace that you think you're going to have a high likelihood of finding opossums, and the challenge is that they're kind of like wily creatures and they don't just like hang out. They're not like squirrels where like like challenging the dog. So there's a method to my madness of why I'm suggesting this. So have the collar all the way up, and then at the first moment of your dog, and this might take you weeks until you get that opportunity where your dog like sees one and goes after it. And what you're going to do is the moment you see this targeting and starting to move, like the split second it starts to happen, you recall your dog or you say no, depending on which, like how you, I think you say leave it. Oh man, I have such a hard time with leave it because I just see leave it never work.
Right.
But I'm sure if you paired,
use it,
I'm sure if you paired leave it with a high e-collar correction, leave it would actually matter. But I have a personal aversion to leave it because I just hear people all around my neighborhood go, leave it, leave it, leave it, and their dog's like, ah. So I would rather you say no or recall, which would just be like, boom, I don't know which one it is. I see an opossum. I'm already up. If you're on a mini educator at 100, my dog starts to move, and at the split second that it happens, I say come or I say no, and I pop. And if I don't get an immediate response of like, holy shit moly, turn around, I'm going to press and hold that button until holy shit moly comes out, and your dog goes, wow, my world just changed. Chasing opossums may be the worst thing in the world for me. And then you call your dog back, turn the e-collar down, call him back, right? And I would do this over and over again until your dog gets to the space where your dog sees possums and goes, or opossums, and goes, I'm good. I don't need anything to do with them, right? So that's one approach. I do that all the time if I'm out at a park with dogs that have major squirrel issues, major prey drive, cats, anything like that. It's aversion training. It's straight up. It's like
it's
that
not the
thing.
most fun stuff, but it works and it's worth it because
And can save your dog from getting rabies or who knows what else, or
torn up.
serrated by,
You
by.
could have so much fun with, like, we talk about, you could have so much fun just like you're doing with your dog, just walking off leash and all this stuff. I was going to mention the story with,
Looks like CC. I better wrap this one up quick. So let me wrap it up.
Yep.
Okay, so Brooke, high level aversive training that lets your dog know don't do that. The other flip side of this, which could be a little more challenging, is take her on a long line, 50-foot long line, and then start hunting for possums. And the reason why I suggested the first one with the e-collar all the way up is because when it just happens, you're ready for it and you can correct.
Ready.
This is like you're going out, you're on a long line, you're kind of hunting for them. You can still have your e-collar all the way up, but what I want you to start recalling your dog off of possums at a distance, right? So if I've got a dog with major squirrel stuff, I'm going to start correcting and recalling the dog 10 feet away, then 20 feet away, then 25, then 30, then 50. Don't let the dog get close to the possum and then try and recall. The closer the dog is to the trigger, to the target, here comes CC. I'm trying to help you guys. The closer the dog gets to the target, the harder it is to pull them off, right? I hope that makes sense. So there's CC. So the major strategy. Are you going to record any of this?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
So finish up.
So I'm trying, Brooke. So hopefully that makes sense, right? So you have two choices. You go out, e-collar, dogs off leash, high level aversive correction that you're already set up for. Don't mess around with low levels. It's too late when the prey drive kicks in, and the closer your dog gets to the trigger, the more you're toast, the more you won't get anything. But you lay that high level correction on at the split second that your dog commits to make that move, you'll change your dog's world, especially if you press and hold. Once again, the other option is long line on your dog and you start fishing for possums, and then as soon as you see it, you start working at distance 10 and then get closer, let your dog get closer 15, let your dog get closer 20, keep recalling off until your dog's like, I can't chase possums. That's how we go about that stuff. It's pretty simple, but that's the approach. So I hope that helps. I gave you two options because I want things to be good for you and I want you to find your way. Obviously, if you're afraid about correcting your dog high and that your dog might like flee the scene, then make sure you have a long line on your dog. So Brooke, that is it, and we hope that we can rectify this possum passion and turn things into something positive, a positive possum passion for you. How are you?
Mr. Chan.
Good to see you.
Good to see you
Yeah,
too.
come on down.
Okay.
Cece, how are you?
How's life?
Fine, Laura. How are you?
What is this in the bag?
The present. Happy birthday to Mr. Chan.
Oh, well, thank you
Please
so
take
much.
a look what it is.
Okay, well, let me
Yes.
take a look. What have I got here?
Oh my
Ooh, wow.
gosh. Whoa, that's cool.
Silk.
Wow.
Silk
Wow.
shirts from Thailand.
Show it. Bring it
Sorry,
out.
sorry.
Oh my gosh, it's beautiful.
It's really nice. Where'd you get it? Did you bring it?
Thailand. From
Did
Thailand.
you bring it from home?
Yes, from Thailand. Yes.
Thank you, Cece. Thank you.
Shirts. Oh my gosh.
Now we're talking. This will be my Q&A shirt.
Cece, that's so kind of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you
You're
very
welcome,
much.
Mr.
Thank
Chan.
you very much.
Okay. Tomorrow I go to the music studio
Music studio.
What are you going to do?
to do music comedy. Music comedy from CC Rider.
Cece,
I
right?
love you. You should love me too.
Next week, will you
Okay.
sing to us?
Yes,
Oh,
please.
okay.
We need
Okay.
Cece to draw a name.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Will you draw a name for us?
Yes, okay. I will do that. Laura,
Pick one name.
take one name for the lucky name. Is it coming? Coming.
just one.
Just one.
Oh,
Look
somebody
at me.
almost won.
There we go.
Coming.
All right, read it.
What is
Shannon
Shannon
Nixon. Nixon. E-collar.
E-collar.
Oh man, she got the big one. She got the big one.
Okay, good night everyone. Talk to you later. I love you.
And next week, you promise you'll sing?
Yes, next week I get some song for you. Music comedy make you smile and laugh with CC Ryder. Goodbye, Chat.
All right.
Goodbye, Mr. Chat.
All right, my friend. Have a good
Goodbye,
time.
my
All
friend.
right.
Wonderful Indian food just happens.
We spared you guys
Yeah.
the chow down. I watched last episode, and there was a lot of like, especially because our camera's high, there was a lot of this.
Yeah. Shoveling.
And I was like, that doesn't look so great. So we're adjusting on the fly.
So question number 3 comes from Robin. Robin says, hey guys, I have a dog boarding business at my home. We run a kennel-free business for stable, well-balanced dogs. We set down rules, boundaries, and limitations for every dog who enters the home. Every so often we get a dog with a unique problem. We recently boarded a dog that screams or yelps when correcting or doing something she doesn't like. The scream sounds exactly like a puppy when another puppy bites too hard during play. I went to put an e-collar on her, and the pressure of the collar made her scream. It wasn't even in use at the time. Interestingly, the stim on the collar doesn't faze her, mini educator level 10.
Yep.
She doesn't yelp or scream from the e-collar when it's used. It's just more person related. When people approach her to put on a collar or leash her, she does this screaming behavior. It sounds like you're torturing her. I've learned not to back away from her until she stops screaming, and when she relaxes, I move away. It's easy to assume abuse that was done to this dog, but come on. She definitely uses the tactic to control people. She's a puller on leash, and the owners use a harness. I typically walk the dogs in packs with prongs. I wouldn't dare put one on her. I use the harness and use the other end of the leash as a slip lead that worked, but she still screams from the pressure on her neck. She's excitable and pushy and in your face, so corrections are needed. How do I correct her without her screaming?
How come I'm not shocked that she's pushy and bratty and all that stuff?
All right.
This one's for you, lady.
Oh, me?
Yeah. Here you go, sweet cheeks.
Oh, Robin. Okay. This is a great first line. This is most likely a learned behavior. Dogs learn quickly what works and what doesn't. So this is just basically a great thesis sentence to all of this. Yes, this dog, everything that you are thinking possibly about this dog is right. Now, you know, I've never seen the dog, so I can't be 100% sure, but
We see it all the time.
we see it all the time. These types of dogs come in here all the time, and the owners are like, I can't do anything. Like, you know, we'll be showing them the collar at the end of a board and train, and like the dog will jump at a 6 or make a noise at its level 6, and the owner's like, yeah, when I used to like touch the dog on the shoulder, it made that same noise. Like, it's just the dog. So we have seen this tons. It's pushy stuff. If it comes with dogs that are pushy and excitable and all that stuff, they're literally using it as their own e-collar. So it's like, oh, you get near them, pressure goes away. Oh, you want them to do something, that doesn't happen anymore. So like, I can control my world with this screaming.
Just
it's
like
so
biting.
Awesome.
Just like biting.
It's the exact same thing. So you not backing down to that pressure, and you know, it's not like the most exciting advice, but using corrections. I mean, if the people are walking the dog on a harness, I'm assuming that they're doing that because they can't get a collar or anything else on the dog.
Put a dominant dog collar on it.
You could do a dominant dog collar. You could walk the dog on a dominant dog collar. You could get the dog muzzle conditioned so that you're not worried about when you put the tool on that the dog's going to bite you. I don't know if you have a concern about that, but if you're not concerned about that, you just get some earplugs and work through it, because this dog is just being super, super bratty. And I would strongly suggest like a full kind of overhaul program for the owners and for your sanity.
That may not be a possibility, though.
It may not be a possibility, but it sounds like you're pretty strict on who comes into your boarding. I wouldn't, it's great. I wouldn't board a dog like this unless I was able to like train the bejesus out of it and make sure it wasn't like being so pushy with all that stuff. That's just like, and that's upsetting to other dogs. That's the worst thing ever for your other dogs that are boarding, are like, whoa, that's a jarring sound, and the dog's all amped up and gets to do whatever he wants. It's like that kid in class that was always like the bad kid that the teacher never caught. But now that looking back as an adult, I'm like, did she not catch him, or was she just too tired or just didn't want to like deal with it? So like, I think it's that same sort of thing where like that kid would upset the whole class. You know, you'd hate him when he walked in. You hate him during group things. You're like, oh, him or her or whatever. Like, interrupting and trying to cause a scene, that's kind of like what this dog is doing to the rest of your stable boarding dogs. So I would say do exactly whatever your instincts are right now on this dog. I think you're right on, but I would say, you know, do a full program, and if that's not possible, then maybe this dog shouldn't be, you know, boarding with you anymore. If these owners are serious about getting their dog right, state of mind wise, they need to, you know, bite the bullet on some training.
Which time we got?
2 minutes.
Cool. So a little extra something, a little extra scoop of ice cream on top of this sundae. So like Laura said, dogs learn quickly what works and what doesn't work. And from what she just shared and what I believe wholeheartedly is that this is a byproduct, a symptom of spoiling, permissiveness, and no consequences for being a jackass. I can't say it any more clearly than that. Whoa. Speaking of, dogs learn very quickly what they can do, whether it's growling, biting, whining, whatever it is, screaming. Can you,
Yeah.
No, nope. Hang on, we got dog training going on here. It's real life. We got a shepherd, which is a really good example because the shepherd is highly vocal. And so anybody who saw the shepherd's first Periscope or videos heard this dog screaming and yelling and throwing tantrums about everything.
Yes.
And the first questions I got on Periscope was, is she a sensitive dog? I was like,
No.
probably not, but you won't know until a few days in when she learns that that doesn't work.
Right.
And what we've seen now is now the walks are silent, right? Because we haven't allowed it, we've corrected it, we've addressed it. So I think that you've got on your hands a very bratty, permissive, entitled dog, and that's not going to go away just by you fixing it or addressing it. It's got to happen in the home. And if they're not willing to do their work, you're going to continue to struggle with that dog.
Yeah. So have some fun. Let us know.
Nip it in the bud.
Okay, thanks.
Cool. I would whoop some behind.
Yes.
Operation whoop some behind.
Okay, we've got question number 4 comes from Claire.
All the pressure's on me.
Claire says, "Hi Sean, I have an excitable 1-year-old Rottie. I exercise him every morning and we're working on healing in place.
I'm ready for you.
Our yard is not fenced, so when my children play outside without me, I keep him indoors. He spends the entire time running from window to window looking for the kids and freaking out. I usually keep him in place for 2 hours while I homeschool my kids in the morning, but they play outside for hours. Should I keep him in place for most of the day? Is there something else I should do? I generally take him out if I work in the garden or yard or for a 30 to 45 minute play and training session after lunch."
Nicely read.
Yes,
As a matter of fact.
Thank you.
All right, Claire. There's currently a plane coming delivering the information for this question. They'll parachute it down and I will read it to you. No, just kidding. So I wrote notes because you know me, I like to write notes. I like to make sure I got everything just right for you. So you have to be using some kind of corrective tool. If you've got your dog in place and you've taught it with treats or you've taught it with verbal commands and you've said you got to be there, and then your Rottie knows there's no consequences for breaking, and then the kids go outside and he's really drawn to it and he's like, the pack needs to be together, and I'm panicking and freaking out, and he goes through the windows and you're not correcting breaking place and you're not correcting acting like a fool with the windows, you're stuck. Your dog is stuck and you're stuck. Keep it super duper simple. Laura's dog Polar Bear used to love, it was like an Olympic event, throw himself at the windows every time somebody would walk by. Now it wasn't about the kids and the pack, it was about like, who the hell's going by? We used an e-collar, high level correction, twice, never did it again. Let him like set up, somebody walks by, jumped at the window, bang, at 100 on the IQ, which is a low collar, but like all the way up, and then one more time, bang, and he was like, cool, I'll just run in my crate.
Never mind.
Right? So when consequences become significant, you guys have heard me like a broken record. When consequences become significant, behavior changes. Everybody should tattoo that on their arm or their forehead or their leg or somewhere. So when consequences become significant, behavior changes, whether it's in Laura, me, humans, anyone, you know, animals, whatever. That's the way it works. So on with that, you need some kind of tools. You need to either have a leash and prong on your Rottie while you train this and work through this behavior. You have to have a way to communicate. That's the simplest, cheapest, easiest, not necessarily the best, but simplest, easiest, cheapest, right? He drags a leash and prong around, he's on place, he breaks place, you mark it with a no, you calmly walk over, grab his leash, firm physical correction for breaking, guide him back to place, repeat the process. If he breaks again, no, calmly again. Now the consequence comes up another level, bang. There's a point where your dog's gonna go, this ain't so fun, and staying in place is way better than going acting like a fool at the windows. Now beyond that, you could also do e-collar training if you want to get into a more comprehensive, more highly trained, more freedom and latitude about the way you can address and correct him, right? So, sorry. So once, let's see, correct for breaking place, command, firmly. Okay, so for the e-collar training stuff, here's the thing. If you train your dog to the e-collar and you teach place and you teach recall and you get that foundation together, what you can then do once the dog's conditioned to it, I'm talking a lot with my hands tonight. Once the dog's conditioned to it, then you can very easily allow him to have more freedom instead of being locked down in place. And the moment he goes towards that window to be a maniac, you roll that collar up and you press and tap, or you press and hold depending on what your dog needs as a pressure conversation, consequence conversation to go, jumping at the windows and being a fool is not worthwhile. It's so simple. My Periscope today, which is, you know, several days prior from when you guys hear this, but my Periscope is all about, today was all about like sharing consequences. Like we had a 12-time biting dog who stopped biting in 5 minutes only because we shared consequences with him that were valuable enough for him to stop doing the freaking wrong behavior. Human beings have to start not just saying no, not just like managing the dog, not just putting the dog away, but owning their home and saying this behavior is inappropriate, and here's some very simple tools about how to make that happen. If you don't want to get complex, leash and prong on your dog, and you nail your dog with a nice firm pop for acting like a jackass, breaking place, or being crazy around the windows. If this Rottie is so strong, powerful, and doesn't care, then it's time to go to e-collar training, and you can make this stuff go away in a heartbeat. So I would not allow this in my house. It's not good for your dog. It's going to keep him stressed. It's going to keep him in a bad space, and it's going to make your life hell, and you're going to have him like locked down. Like, let's correct it and get rid of it. Let's tell him what are appropriate behaviors, where are the boundaries, let him know. But it's consequences, right? Fair training along with consequences of what's cool. That's how you get him there. So I know it sounds like I'm preaching, but boy, I hate to see people struggling with stuff that is so easy to fix. I could walk into your house with an e-collar and I could have that behavior stopped in 5 minutes, right? So that's why I get frustrated. Not because I don't think you're smart enough, but just because it bums me out that knowledge isn't pervasive, that it's not universal, that everybody doesn't know, like, oh, that's how we deal with that stuff. So anyways, I hope that helps. And if you have any questions, be sure to hit us up in the, when we post the actual video up on Saturday. Put it in, comments, give us some questions.
Let us know
And if you've got any questions about, okay, I'm not sure how to do it, let me know and we'll walk you through it.
Cool.
All right?
Thank you.
Thanks. Don't take any guff from that dude.
Okay, we got question number 5, final question.
Yes.
Comes from Joshua.
Yes.
Joshua says an update and a follow-up question.
I like it.
Several months ago, I asked about my Cane Corso boxer mix, Reese, and her reactivity issues. I'd watched your videos after nearly 2 years of trying 3 different dog trainers to help with her reactivity and made tremendous progress just with the fundamentals of prong. Nice. However, we are still having a major barrier fence reactivity as well on walks when she sees other dogs. I'd asked you if e-collar was the next step and possible solution. Your answer in short was yes. We've been using the Educator Mini for months now. And it's fantastic for inside the house and healing recall when outside. Where we're desperate for help is that she still has intense reactivity with other dogs when on walks and in the backyard. So much that she can only be off leash with e-collar in the backyard when other dogs aren't out, or else she'll charge. We follow all your protocols, constant heel and positioning on walks, boundaries, place, no pushy behaviors, no unearned affection. She doesn't do anything without our permission, does very well.
Wow.
Sometimes we have to take her to dog
Kicking
daycare.
butt.
I know. Or board her, and the place we take her praises how much they love her and how well behaved she is with other dogs. But when she's home, she can't see a dog on a walk or through a fence without a nervous breakdown. We just don't understand. Doesn't matter how early we catch it or what level, she'll blow through it. I've tried countless hours of low-level recall, and she's fantastic, but the literal second there's another dog, I completely lose her. So bad when I see another dog, I don't even use the e-collar anymore because she blows through levels, and the higher levels just make her crazy. I've started with higher levels, you know. We're moving to California in a few months. We're just there this past week. There were off-leash dogs everywhere. We have this incredible dog that we just can't break through this reactivity issue with, and we're very worried that we won't be able to take her anywhere once we move. And all the daycare boarding locations we found keep dogs in large caged areas all next to each other, and there's no way she'd pass the social test. Anyway, I've watched all your videos, spent months on e-collar and prong work, but the reactivity never gets better. Any suggestions would help so much. Oh, Joshua, besides becoming a dog trainer.
Yeah. So yeah, it sounds like you're kicking so much ass that like I think both of us are blown away. Like everything you listed is like you need to be a deputy dog trainer unless you got a really great gig already. But otherwise, like that's fabulous work, fabulous insight, fabulous consistency.
Yeah, the consistency and keeping that up, that's so great.
And just seeing how it's all interconnected. So we've seen a few of these guys, right? Over the course of, you know, several years of training, we've seen a few of these guys that come through that, like Scooter, you know, Mika, who was just here lately. Mika managed to do really well with us, but Mika went home back to her own home turf and was blowing up and working, pushing through corrections that she wouldn't do here, right? So relationship and all that stuff has so much to do with it, but you're already doing like really great work. You're already like laying great foundational relationship stuff. So that shouldn't really be at the heart of what your problem is. There's a big hair floating around. So, oh, it sounds like growling. Is it a car? I think it's a car.
Oh, okay.
We're so paranoid. We're like, who's growling? Okay, so yeah, it's a car. So it happens. It happens when we get some of these dogs through that, excuse me, even with the very best work, all the stuff I suggested is stuff that we would actually do here. So you've done a really great job. I can't tell you what your timing looked like. I can't tell you how creative or how effective you might have been on the e-collar. You might be perfect, or there might be certain tweaks there. I can't say for sure, but it sounds like you're a pretty resourceful guy, and you probably tried a lot of stuff and it just hasn't worked because you've got one of those like 1%er dogs. So
really what we kind of call them 1%er dogs that like they just take more stuff. So
and the excitement levels are so high that when you do correct low, high, medium, they just lift off and they become more problematic, and it's really challenging. So here's what I'm going to suggest for you. You've already done prong, you've already done e-collar, you've already like really exhausted all that stuff. Tara Isaacson was in a similar position. Tara, who's been a big fan of Q&A and who's watched 1 million episodes and has sent us video updates. I don't know if you've seen them, but she had a pittie that was highly reactive and uncontrollable with e-collar and prong collar. It helped for like all the other stuff you're talking about, walks and recall and all that. But around dogs, wouldn't help. They were still lifting off. So we recommended a dominant dog collar. You can order them from learberg.com. You want to order them, go through their sizing chart, and you want to get one that fits really snug on your dog's neck. Now here's what I want you to do. I want you to go out with, it's a lot of gear, but this is what I do when I've got like the heavy duty cats. So, or dogs, is that prong collars on with a leash, e-collars on, no leash, and then dominant dog collar with a short traffic lead. And what I do is I put the dominant dog collar at the very tip top, and it's got to fit right? So make sure you go through the Learberg chart. They're a little pricey, about 35 bucks, something like that. They're made really well, thin nylon, really thick buckles, goes at the top of the dog's neck. Prong collar goes right underneath it. E-collar, yes, it's a lot of gear, and a flat buckle collar. I mean, it's like, it looks like one of those Ethiopian or you know, necklaces? Like the cultural thing where they stretch the neck. So I
guess they're not necklaces.
They're not necklaces. They're actually built to like
I thought they were like
elongate
Oh,
the
yeah,
neck.
that's right.
Yeah. You take them off and their neck's like, brr. So keep yours on. So anyways, I digress. But my point is that, like for Tara, so I'll give you a real life example, and we've done it a million times with other dogs. The whole concept with the dominant dog collar is it takes drive out of dogs, right? Prong collar, e-collar work for about 90% of dogs to do the same thing. Relax them, take them down, have them be respectful, deferential, handler respect, all that great stuff, impulse control. And then you get the dogs like the one you've got, or Tara had, or Mika, or Scooter, where it doesn't work. And with those dogs, a dominant dog collar, thin little line, two collars and two leashes in your hand. You've got your regular like 4-foot or 6-foot leash connected to your prong collar, and then you've got, I almost slipped you off, but you've got the traffic leash, which is connected to the dominant dog collar, which is shorter than any of the other ones, and it's wrapped around your fingers like this. And you see dogs, don't get close, don't try and hammer your dog, just pressure up with the dominant dog collar and lift and hold. Don't pop, don't correct. It's not a popping or correcting. It's taking the gas out of the tank, taking the wind out of the sails, taking the air out of the tank, whatever the hell you want to call it. So what happens is dog starts to escalate and lift off. He's accustomed and used to pop, something that's gonna make it even worse. Instead, you calmly just take the traffic lead, you pull up. You don't want your dog dangling off the ground. You're not hanging him, but you do want the front paws to kind of come off the ground just a little bit, and you just want to hold. And hold until the dog might like give you some, fish out of water stuff. Dog might be really calm. Dog might be silent immediately. Dog might try and fight through it. Hold. As soon as your dog gives you calm, release the pressure, and then continue on. And you do this over and over and over again. And what you're doing is you're conditioning your dog that when you see other dogs, all that crap, all that monkey business, all this lighting up stuff is not going to work, because now we have a tool that's going to shut that down. So, at the end of my rope. So this was an important question, and I wanted to make sure I really dove in deep. So dominant dog collar, 2 leashes, prong, e-collar, and use the e-collar for heel and all your other stuff that you're using it for that's working. Use your prong collar for basic little directional stuff, and use your dominant dog collar for like, that's enough. And take your dog down and let your dog be calm, and don't yell, don't scream, don't get frustrated, just hold it until your dog starts relaxing. Your dog might even get a little woozy. At that point, relax the leash. We're not trying to choke the dog out. We want the dog to go, this doesn't work. So,
and if you're in California, come see us. We can also board your dog at our new place. So if you need help boarding, we're here for you. We don't do social tests, because many of the dogs who will be boarding with us, all we work with are the crazy ones. So we're so excited to be able to extend boarding for all of our clients or people we know that have troubled dogs. So we'll be able to handle anything that goes on, and that way you don't have to sweat it. So another one. So hopefully that helps. Let us know. Keep us posted, okay? Keep us posted. We'd love to see progress.
Fingers crossed for you.
Before and after on this, or even just before. It'd be really, really helpful for us to see all this stuff. Always good and exciting. And we'd love to meet you too once you get here.
Yes. How'd you like when I went to pinch your nose? I know you do. That's why I do it, because I'm just a child at heart. But you know it's because I love you.
I know. Okay, so
we got some stuff.
Gave away an e-collar DVD.
That's crazy.
CC pulled a name.
That's crazy. What are you guys trying to make me broke?
So contact me. And
do they need an email?
I'll link it up. Bing.
Oh, that's right. God. Bing.
And
so sophisticated.
I wanted to say, well, actually, I'll jump this in. I'll roll it into the final.
Roll it.
No, roll it into the final thought. You keep going.
Okay. So for next week, whoever wants to win, you guys know, you've heard me and Laura, you've heard Jeff. We've talked a ton about Jim Rohn's Art of Exceptional Living being probably the pivotal one-piece desert island classic. If I had to pick one piece of material, one resource for me to listen to for the rest of my life, the one thing that's had the most impact on my life, the one that I think Laura would also say has probably had the most impact.
1,000,000%.
1,000,000% is Art of Exceptional Living by Jim Rohn. So what I've done is I purchased a couple of different items to give away to you lovely people, right? So The next thing we're going to give away next week is Art of Exceptional Living 6 CD freaking audio set. That is like huge stuff, and if you listen to it and listen to it over and over again, change your life.
Yes.
Change it.
I want this to be good way. Sorry.
Okay, so it'll change your life.
Yeah.
But it takes work, right? You don't just put Jim on while you're like in the bathroom and showering. And you're like, I listened to Jim Rohn today. Yes, you can have it on in the background, but you gotta try and pay attention, and you need to do it over and over again. And you need to process the information and ideas that he's sharing, so you can integrate them and use them and put them into play in your life. But I'm telling you guys, this one thing, this one resource, can change your world. So what I want is I want you guys to email us at I've been reinformed. Tell them what the email is.
thegooddogway@gmail.com. Bing.
Link it up.
If you email thegooddog.la@gmail.com, it won't get counted in. So please, it's right up here. See it? thegooddogway@gmail.com. That's the email that you email. The other ones won't. We can't take those because that's more for the training business. So I'm not looking so much at that email. So thegooddogway@gmail.com. Tell us a little bit of a story.
Tough cookie.
No, I don't want anyone to lose the chance. So make sure you get the right email.
Yeah, so we need story.
We need a little story on why this would be something you'd
why
want.
would be something important, why you would want it, and
Maybe if you add to your library or what you
we're softies.
Yeah.
Tell us a great story, and you'll probably be walking away with it. Don't lie to us, but tell us a good story. And we need your address as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Cool. So that's super exciting. I can't wait to give that away. And then
that brings me into my giveaway, which I announced 2 weeks ago, which is a foundation prong DVD to any rescue or any person who puts a rescue up for the prong DVD, or if you own a rescue or you work at a rescue or shelter or whatever, we're happy to give you a free prong DVD. The thing is, last week we gave it away to Gidget, right? Gidget Hall?
Gidget rocked.
Gidget.
Gidget rock. Yeah, we gave it away to Gidget.
Mom.
She's already rocking with it and teaching people and utilizing it.
So we gave it away to her, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
And then I announced it again, and I haven't heard from anyone. So here's the deal. This rolls us into our final thought. Bullshit. Basically, Sean and I have seen a lot. I mean, you can imagine with a training business working with tough dogs, we get a lot of, you can harshly call it sob stories about dogs that are in the system or that are at shelters or at rescues that are like terribly behaved or have major issues or major obedience problems, and the dog can't get homed, and can we please take the dog on for free because they need help. So we got so many of these, and we were so, understandably so, upset that we can't help all. I mean, if we took a bunch of free dogs, we'd just be broke and not be able to train dogs anymore because we'd be too busy working at restaurants. So we had to we had to have actual clients, and we ended up doing a program where we take one dog at a time for free if it was a really responsible rescue. And then eventually the DVDs came from, and all our free how-to training videos came from all of this need, all these stories we heard, the sad eyes of the dogs looking at us through the emails, and us being like, we can't help all these dogs, no one can, but YouTube can, and so can a $75 DVD.
Do you guys realize that that's been I'm sure a lot of people go oh, that's their marketing concept, and yes, it helps us build our business, but I'm telling you guys, the motivation for everything that we do is how do we create impact, how do we change the world, how do we get balanced training to spread, how do we get the right information into the right hands to help the right dogs, to help them get out of shelters for simple problems that they shouldn't be struggling with the right tools, so clients or owners are empowered. That's what motivates us. That's what drives us.
To be honest, Sean and I have other stuff that we like to do besides dog training. Shocker! So Sean is and played on a ton of professional records as a drummer. I write a a book that I'm hoping is going to be something big.
I'm writing a book too.
You're writing a book too as well. We've done a lot of things that are outside of dog training world that we know are like maybe just as much, if not more, our passion wheelhouse. What we love so much about what we're doing with dog training is we want to make a global impact. And that sounds so maybe cheesy and so like a line.
Sounds freaking great.
But it is. Because what's that, like, we can go out, Sean and I could go out and do any other type of business and be just as successful because we're super driven to be successful at work. But the reason we've chosen this is because we see how much of an impact already we're making.
We get the emails every day.
Yeah, and all the balanced trainers that are out there doing the same thing, we're watching them make this impact and we're like, oh my gosh, this is like when I came into dog training 5 years ago with Sean, all I knew about was pure positive, and we were fighting a battle. Now it's like tons of balanced trainers out there, and just
you might have been lucky to have like Jeff's radio show,
right? And Jeff was like the OG, but now you get on YouTube and there's all these people using prongs and having happy, great videos before and afters, and e-collars. It's awesome, but I really, really take exception with these rescues and shelters that I will continue to get emails about. We can't afford training, but can you do this? We've raised $100, but can you give us a free $3,000 board and train for our dog aggressive dog? No, we haven't used any tools. No, we haven't seen your YouTube videos. No, we haven't bought your DVD that's $75, which we have the money for because we did a Kickstarter for $100. It's like, no, we haven't done all of these things, but can you do all the work for us?
Yeah.
So I take a lot of exception with lazy perfectionism, which is not my term. Some mentor of mine gave me that. There's a lot of like, I need things perfect, but I'm not going to do the work.
Yeah.
So I'm upset that I haven't gotten more emails about people that, I don't care if you're like a full-fledged rescue at this point. If you're taking in dogs and just taking them in as a bunch of fosters and you need help with balance training, then email me and tell me about that. I'm just so mad that like I got 0 emails this week about a free $85 product.
Yeah, it could be any one facility, home-based work,
home-based non-profit, so we can open it up a little bit if that's going to help out.
The fact of the matter is just one of these gets out and you could impact 20, 30, 40 people getting dogs out. Like you were talking about, was it Jacqueline Warbus?
So Jacqueline Warbus is one of our fans. She sends me emails probably every week about a new like smiling dog face, like little pittie face, whatever, a dog. This dog just got rehomed because I was able to implement like balance training. She's involved in a rescue. This dog, look at this dog in place with his new owners. Like I just constantly get stuff from Jacqueline and I just love it. It makes my day because I'm like, this is someone who literally has never said like, oh, can you guys do all the work? She said, I'm gonna get your stuff. I'm gonna study your videos. I mean, look at Joshua. He went through 3 trainers and he found our free videos and was able to help his dog. Like, it's out there, and I think so many people are out there crying like poor and crying like, oh, this dog's so troubled and no one wants to help him, and helpless and all this.
And victim-y.
We hear it all the time, and I'm not saying everyone.
And just because you do good, this is a really important point.
Yeah.
Just because you do good work by dogs, just because you care, just because you volunteer, doesn't mean that you're doing what the dogs need, right? Just because you put this time in, which is valuable, yes, it helps. Just because you're volunteering, just because you feel like your heart's in the right place, if you're not helping dogs get out of there, if you're just stockpiling dogs or loving them or setting them up for failure because you don't give them the skills to go out and survive or succeed in another home. And this is not to trash anybody, but guys, like, dogs need specific rules and structure and accountability.
Especially if they have behavior problems.
And especially if they haven't spent a lot of time in a home. They need all the help they can get. And the programs we put together are so freaking simple that anybody can do them. There's no, like, I think there's this weird concept, like this stuff's so complicated that like we can't do it, and so people just push it away.
Spend 8 hours and save 100 dogs this year. spend 8 hours studying a DVD. I'm telling you, you can email me your little story and I'll send it to you free. You'll have it in 5 days. You get someone to learn it in 8 hours, and you help 100 dogs this year make it into homes. Let's do it. I have one other person too, Maddie Waddy on Facebook.
Yeah.
That's her Facebook name, so I'll call her Maddie Waddy. She does the same thing. She goes to a shelter. She's got a full-time job.
She's not a pro trainer.
Nope. She goes to a shelter or rescue that she works at or helps out with, and she's got them all, now got all the dogs from prong collars, helping rehome. Oh, another one was rehomed. Oh, another one's homed. Another one was homed. It's just like...
Why were they rehomed?
Or homed.
Why were they homed?
Because of what...
What did they what did they get that they needed to be able to succeed in a home?
They had the skills to be able to go to a house and not jump on the kids and not eat tear the furniture apart and actually be
Basics.
calm. And yeah, it's like the most basic. Maddie Waddy's not out there like pressure release, like let me do some focus stuff and all this stuff that all of us fancy guys we get into because we like to do it. It's our job. Maddie Waddy's out there just kicking butt doing basics.
Crate training, waiting for food, walking nice on leash, place command, don't jump up, don't counter surf. All these things, like these are the things that dogs get returned for.
Yeah.
Destruction, put them in a crate, all this stuff, right? Instead, utilize these simple tools and help dogs go into homes and succeed. And then owners will be like, this is so great.
Yeah.
But own the tools. Own a tool that makes the dog do better or helps the dog do better, helps the owner be successful.
I just got an email about another cute pit bull. Let's watch this video. Watch this video about this pit bull that needs to be rehomed, like the 1,000th pit bull, right? That needs to be rehomed in a minute. I watched the video. They're playing tug and playing all these games with the dog that's making the dog out of his mind, obsessive with toys,
aroused,
shadows, and all aroused. They're like, oh, look how happy he is. And I'm like, that dog won't get a home. And that's not because these people are bad. It's just it's misinformed. So
they
if
don't
you
understand.
and that's fine. They're trying. But if you have information, I know it's hard. There's some shelters you can't even walk in there with a prong collar. But if you know someone who might be open to stuff, email me and freaking get your $85 for free, guys. It's out there.
I mean, we're giving away the good stuff. Let's come get it. Don't piss her off. Don't piss her off. Okay.
Let's get some dogs saved this year. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, it's part of our mission, part of our plan, part of our impact, but we need all you guys to help spread the word. And with that,
76 is...
I'm gonna hold her back. Hold her back. So guys, we love you. Thanks for the questions. We scared Zilly.
Yeah.
Thanks for the questions. Always love chatting with you guys.
Thanks.
We can't wait for one to share with you guys all the details of the new place coming up. It's bomb. It's going to be so much fun. My mouth is starting to come back to normal. That's great news. and there was one other. I just want to say one more time, the Nola workshop. If you're interested, what's the email?
thegooddogway@gmail or thegooddog.la for that one. So.
If you want to come, it's going to be off the chain. It's going to be so personalized, and it's going to be so much fun, and it's going fast. And I'm not saying that to be salesy. I'm just saying it's going fast.
And we don't know if we're going to do another one, so do it.
Get it. All right, guys. We'll see you next week, and we do love you.
All right.
See you guys. Bye.
Thank you.